from maybe birth to 18, then it seems like there's a gap. There's a huge gap. And I can't speak to anyone else, but I think just to arbitrarily use an age as a cutoff point and say everybody is ready to roll on their own, especially those that have had very significant issues, that's very difficult for these kids. And so they go out into the world, they do the best they can. They've been armed with clinical treatment if they've been with us, and there is a Road to Independence program within the state of Florida for children in the foster care, but sometimes all of that just isn't enough for these kids. And so that seems to be, I would say, a challenge for us in trying to prepare for the best treatment plan and discharge plan for these children when they're leaving us. Because again, these are kids that don't always have families to go home to. Many of these children have been permanently removed from their families. They're in a system of care, and it's unfortunate, but it had to happen because of the level of abuse and neglect. And sometimes they're temporarily removed from their families while the families are working hard on their issues as well. So it is it's very necessary, I think, that society take a look at this and make some adjustments and improvements to this concept.
What are some of the things that the community can be involved with?
Thank you for asking. Well, we're dealing with children and teenagers, and to a certain extent, they're normal children and teenagers. They have all the same needs as children and teenagers do. Right now, obviously, our focus is on providing our children with more than an adequate holiday. Again, at the hospital level of care, or even we have a couple of group homes in Brevard County and another residential treatment program up in Titusville. Irrespective of where these kids are, they have one common issue. They're not kids that have a home to go home to over the holidays. 98% of them are going to be with us. And as wonderful as Devereaux is, and I've worked for Devereaux for 29 years, it's still institutional care during the holidays. So yes, we pull out all the stops. We have a food services department. They're doing a buffet that mirrors something you would get in a grand hotel. We seek the partnership of the community to be able to have enough holiday gifts for our children, because remember, these are kids, and some of these children haven't ever had a Christmas before. Very fortunate, we have the Merritt Island Kiwanis come out every year and do a barbecue for our children, and they bring Santa and Mrs. Claus. And I think every year this happens, we've got children that don't want to go near Santa and Mrs. Claus because they don't know who they are. They don't understand the concept of Santa. They haven't been taken to a Santa, something that you and I take for granted in our families. That happens on a routine annual, sometimes multiple times during the Christmas season. So these children have been sadly lacking in some of the cultural education that we provide to our own families. And so the community can help us by providing holiday gifts, gift cards. We do not in this county have a lot of young children. We have mostly children that are middle school to high school age. So things that teens would like: cosmetics for the girls, sports equipment for the boys, craft items. Gift cards work very well for us. A gift card with a denomination of $10 works to Walmart or Target works very well for us because we can put them with other $10 gift cards to Walmart or Target and go out and do shopping for things that we don't get that the children have requested, because we really do aim to give them a decent holiday. Now, the holidays are difficult on everyone. Anybody you talk to, everybody's got a story. Somebody's lost a family member or whatever has happened to them. Well, these children have that magnified 10 times. They're not in their own home. Maybe they've been removed from their family. Perhaps, as in most cases, they've been abused. Some of them have been highly sexually abused. They don't have good Christmas memories. So we try to provide for their human needs while they're with us as well.
How are they responding to the changes once they come on your facility and everything that you're providing?
Well, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to establish that trusting relationship. Because again, if you're a child that's been abused by adults, and maybe you've been abused by more than one adult, and it's gone on for a while in your life, what reason do you have to trust an adult? So sometimes just the establishment of the therapeutic relationship is somewhat difficult. Although you saw we've got a great program on that campus. We actually have certified art therapists on that campus. We're blessed to have 2 of them. And this is something that has worked phenomenally for our children because the expression of oneself through art can really move them forward in their clinical treatment. Likewise, we have the capacity to have music on our campus. We've got a music room in our Health and Wellness Center. We don't have a music therapist yet. Hopefully we will someday, but we have very talented staff who are musicians that help us run a choir and help us run a gospel choir. And the children have a little soundproof recording booth that they can mix music in. And music is one of those universal languages, and it also helps tremendously in the healing process. So we're very fortunate to have those types of therapies also available on our campus that not everyone does.
So what drives you?
What drives me? Well, I'm a nurse by discipline, and I've done psychiatric nursing before, done some med-surg nursing in my life. When I came up here and responded to the ad for Devereaux and walked on the campus for the first time, I just had a sensation because that hospital campus that I've been speaking about mostly today was the first place that Devereaux built in 1988 in the state of Florida. So we've grown to be in over 43 counties since then. But the first time I stepped on that campus, which only had 100 beds at that time, I just got a sensation of feeling I can't really do better than that this was going to be something really huge for children someday, because it was at the time that other hospitals were closing. So I thought, wow, Devereaux really knows the meaning of life here to, be able to do this. And they did it with a good deal of help. We opened that campus on land that was donated by the very generous Duda family in some partnerships with people out in the community that worked on this for years. And it was based on a request by then Governor Bob Graham, who was tired of sending his children out of state to get treatment. He wanted to provide the service in Florida. He was a man, very wise man ahead of his time. So Devereaux came in, and since that time has expanded, as I mentioned, over 43 counties. Now, this is the only hospital level of care that we have for Devereaux in Florida. In fact, Florida only has 4 such programs throughout the United States, so they're not available everywhere.
Can you mention the other facilities that Devereaux is connected? I know you mentioned Titusville.
In Brevard County, we have a residential program. Your listeners might be aware of Country Acres up in Titusville. And a few years ago, that program morphed by the county's request into being a residential treatment center, and Devereaux was fortunate to get the bid on it. So we lease the property and we provide services to 24 boys in our care. That's considered more of a step-down program. So those boys are out in the community. They're out in the community going to public schools. They're volunteering for things. They're taking that next step to get ready to leave a residential treatment program. Then on Aurora Road, we have a similar program for girls, and that's a 12-bed program. Same sort of concept. The girls are out in community school and engaged with the community. In fact, one of the nice parts of my job is on Saturday, I get to go to the YMCA in Suntree and pick up Christmas gifts that the Y has organized for our girls, because our girls use that YMCA. Then in Palm Bay, we have 2 group homes, 6 beds each, and they're a little bit different. They're treating children and mostly adolescents that are on the autism spectrum. And then the hospital campus. We have also a small outpatient program that deals, we call it family care. It's mostly a foster care type of scenario for, again, those on the autism program.
Now, you also have a autism program at Devereaux.
At that campus?
At your campus?
At our hospital campus, we do. In fact, it's pretty extensive. It's probably close to, we have those 3 programs on that campus. So we've got the one that really deals with psychiatric, emotional issues of children that are fairly high functioning. And then we've got the autism program. So children on the autism spectrum that might be considered profound. They might come into us nonverbal. They might not be able even to toilet themselves. We have the capacity, the ability, the treatment expertise to be able to treat them. Then we get children on the autism spectrum that are Asperger's, and those are the higher functioning children and adolescents with autism. So we have just a wonderful program that's tailored to whatever they're, again, going back to that individualized care. Then the third aspect of what we do on that campus is we have a program that treats girls specifically who have been removed from human trafficking, and they require a good deal of highly specialized treatment, and that supervision comes from Orlando. So we've got a clinical unit that's delivering services and assisting with those girls throughout Florida, but if they're in our highly intensive program at our campus in Vieira.
How many kids do you have at your campus?
At the hospital campus,
Yes,
there's 136 beds, and I can almost guarantee you we're going to be full for Christmas. In Palm Bay, we've got the 2 6-bed homes in the community. On Aurora Road, that's 12 beds and 24 up in Titusville. So that, not counting the outpatient program I spoke of briefly, that's close to 200 children in residential treatment in Brevard County. Throughout Florida, it's thousands of children because, again, we're dealing with issues from prevention all the way up to other residential treatment in the Orlando area to a vast program of outpatient services and case management services for children that are still in their homes. The number one objective is to try to enable that family to stay together. It's going to be much better if it's a safe environment for the child, if the family integrity can be maintained. And so we have large programs that deal with all of the issues that surround families in need.
Now, with the kids on your campus, do you provide transportation to them outside to get other treatments?
To get other treatments? Not too much. Possibly medical. Now, when I say we're a specialty hospital, we don't have an emergency room. We're not Baker Acting, what's called a Baker Act here in the state of Florida. We're not providing medical surgical care for the kids at a hospital level, but we can treat children that, somebody falls off the swing and breaks their leg. They go to the doctor. They come back to us. We have nurses there around the clock. We have 3 full-time psychiatrists that are on not just calling orders in on our campus every day and taking call every day. So we have the ability to be somewhat self-contained in that regard. But our kids are, once they meet appropriate behavioral levels, they're out in the community as well with staff. The difference is they're with staff all the time. They may go to the mall, they may go to the beach. If we get tickets to some of the amusement parks, we take them. Any place you would take your child that they'd be interested in going, so would our kids. Yeah.
Because of our time, can you please let our listeners know how to contact you? You're welcome.
That would be good to know. All right. Again, I'm Patti Hurst. I'm the development staff for Devereaux. My office is at the campus at 8000 Devereaux Drive in Melbourne. If you know where the Brevard Zoo is, we're just about right across Wickham Road on Morel. My phone number is 321-258-1772. And I'd love to tell anybody more about our program. And as Opal knows, we give tours. Need a little bit of advanced planning so that the children and the teachers know we're coming. But we also have a holiday open house on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, from 4:30 to 6. That's at the 8000 Devereaux Drive address. And the children are the stars of that show. It's a winter wonderland this year. You can tour the classrooms we spoke about, see what the kids are involved in, and please come.
Well, thank you, Patti. We definitely was very knowledgeable, and definitely you brought some light to us all about Devereaux, and We really